As a man, it is our responsibility to become financially free and stop trading time for money and use money to free up time. It is our responsibility to provide protection, to provide safety, and to provide that emotional stability for our family. But if we're constantly trading time for money, we're never home with the family, then how are we going to do those things? So instead of just saying that to you, let me share with you how I did it myself. So what I did was in COVID, they actually came into my business and shut down my business because of the pandemic. And I made a commitment to myself that no man or woman would ever come into my ecosystem and take away my ability to take care of my family. So what they did was is they took away my ability to earn income. Now I had an investment portfolio in cryptocurrency at that time, but I said to myself, I'm not touching that. I'm going to figure out how the 1% become the 1% and they maintain the 1%. The key is to understand Jim Rohn said you give $1 million to every person in society and back in the same 1%'s hands. So the first thing we need to understand is they trained us to go to school, get a job, get a 401k, get good health insurance. And once you start to make income, what you do is you go get a loan, borrow against your future self to increase your buying power, to get a car, to get a mortgage, or to go on vacation. But that's the trap. That's the system you have to break free from. So, number one, you have to understand what money is. Money in America and worldwide fiat system is just debt. I get paid in your debt, you get paid in my debt. And the only thing that makes this world go around is interest. When you put your money into a bank, they dam it up and they make it current. So you work really hard trading time for money, you put your money into a bank and they lend it out to the next person walking in. They put it in the capital markets. They put your money to work. So that's the key hint right there. So I learned a four-pronged system that not only freed my family financially, but also is going to build a legacy for generations to come. So number one is I focus on cash flow. Cash is trash. The first thing as I did is I created a budget. I got down to debts and non-negotiables. We ran lean and mean. We didn't buy things that we couldn't afford to impress people we didn't like. We got down to debts and non-negotiables. And as income came in, that created cash flow. With the cash flow, which is inflationary, the US dollar is backed by nothing and has basically zero purchasing power. I took that cash flow and I invested in number two, which was assets. The only way to become wealthy is to invest in assets. If you store your money in cash every single year, you become poor if you don't beat 2% inflation. Okay. So what I did is I took my cash flow, I invested in deflationary assets opposite of the US dollar that have fixed supplies. I personally use things like Bitcoin and XRP that actually have fixed supplies that can't be printed that appreciate over time. Number three in my ecosystem is learning protection. I learned how cash value life insurance is a powerful way not only to insure your family's money, to provide a protection component, because that's our job as men, is to make sure our family is protected if something happens to us. But lastly, a leverage component where I can become my own bank, which is number four, leverage. So first, I learned how to earn. I learned how to create cash flow. I created cash flow in ecosystems. I invested in cash flow in dividends. I took that cash flow. I put it into deflationary assets that have fixed supplies that grow over time. When I profited, I didn't buy Lambos, watches, and buy stuff to impress people that I don't even like. I transmuted those into protection, which created leverage. From the leverage, that's when we bought the assets, the things that we want. So first of all, man, we have to become very, very disciplined. Then you have to create a budget. Then you have to ask yourself, do I want it or do I need it? And if you want it, you wait. If you need it, you get it. And if you want it, you wait till number one, your family's all taken care of through assets, debts, and non-negotiables. Once the debts and non-negotiables are taken care of through assets, then you look at using an asset to pay for a liability. So it is our responsibility as men to figure this out. You can't just sit back and wait for a savior. You can't just sit back and wait for the new president. You can't just sit back and wait for the next president. You can't just sit back and wait for somebody to fix it for you. Go out there and get a sales job. Go out there and get something where you can write your own paycheck. Get a side hustle. Build a business. Don't sit back on your hands and wait for somebody to take care of you because nobody's coming to save you. It is our job as a man to become financially disciplined, to become financially responsible, and it's your job to take care of all the people within your ecosystem. That's what we're here to do. We're here to provide. We're here to protect. It doesn't mean that other people can't do those things, but I'm saying that is our job. That is our purpose. A man who is providing, a man who is protecting financially, spiritually, and mentally is a man with purpose. Now, one of the questions I got was a gentleman asked me, he said, hey, me and my girl, we're just starting out, right? And we're both building together. I get it. I totally get it. And that's phenomenal and that's noble. As long as you're putting in that effort to become the breadwinner, to become the head of household, to become the person to protect your family, that's all we're asking for. Now, this doesn't mean this isn't about the woman not earning and the woman going out and working. I'm talking about a man's role, a man's responsibility, and a man's divine masculine purpose. That's what we're here to do. We're not talking about dominion over women, anything like that. We're talking about our responsibility as men is to protect, to provide, to be financially responsible, to be physically fit. That's how a man develops purpose. That's what we're talking about. And when you operate in that aspect, God, family, protecting your ecosystem at all costs, you have no time to be in other men's business. You're too busy working on yours. So work on that to become financially fit, physically fit, spiritually fit, and mentally fit. And watch what happens to your family and your ecosystem. Warriors, rise, get your shit together.